Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this. Welcome to 30-Minute Thursday on Sports Ramble. My name is Joe Silik. I'm joined by Big D, Dennis Pond, and our host tonight, Corbin, the Man Rush.
Got to change up the look a little bit today. Got to go clean shaven, baby face. But to start off this podcast, we're going to hit on what happened Monday night. For those of you who weren't watching, for those of you who were watching, a player by the name of Damar Hamlin, routine tackle. Tee Higgins caught a crossing route, turned upfield, lowered his shoulder to get extra yards. Damar Hamlin came in, made the tackle. Damar Hamlin stood up after, looked like it was no issue, and then collapsed on the field. CPR was administered on the field for 10 minutes, and he was rushed to the hospital. There was an update today on his condition. He woke up, and his first thing that he did when he woke up was write a note, because he's still intubated at this point in time. But he wrote a note, and all he said was, "Did we win?" So the guy's a warrior. The guy's a fighter. We are absolutely ecstatic to hear that he is awake today and he is conscious, he's functioning. There's also, I've seen reports that he has, as far as we know, function in his hands and feet. So a lot of good news came out today for him. We're very excited for him, and we're going to continue to pray for him and his family, as well as Tee Higgins, because I know that there has been a lot of hate that has come Tee Higgins' way, and I think that is absolutely disgusting and ridiculous. He made a football play, and it's eating at his heart too, watching like what happened after he did make that play, and it's not his fault in any way, shape, or form. He did he made an excellent play, and just a crazy sequence of events happened after that. So prayers for not only Damar Hamlin and his family and him as well for a quick recovery, but also for Tee Higgins in this time, because I can't imagine what that guy is going through mentally right now. So that's what I have to say about that situation. I know Dennis wanted to say a few things, and Joe, I'm sure you want to hit on it for a second. So,
yeah, I want to say first and foremost, prayers to Damar. I think it's hilarious. The first thing he said was, "Oh, do we win the game?" Like, that's just, he's that guy. Like, he's a guy now. Like, everybody's going to know him for the rest of his career. If he continues to play, if he doesn't, it's whatever. And this might be more than 30 seconds. Don't cut me off, Corbin.
No, we're just kind of going on this one. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
The worst part about this, I think, is I've seen some like pretty nasty stuff. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, it's rambling_Big D. And I'll give like some takes throughout the week and stuff. I'm the Twitter presence for the show. And I've seen some hideous things that people have said about Tee Higgins. If you're this young man, put yourself in his shoes. If you're this young man of Tee Higgins, he's what, 24?
Yeah.
23? Like, this is a young man. And you guys and people are out there saying, like, he was the reason this happened. Like, this is all his fault. To include Bart Scott on ESPN. ESPN, if somehow you see this, fire that man, because he turned the whole nation against Tee Higgins. Bart Scott should not be on your anywhere on your network. Tee Higgins made a routine play, a 10-yard crosser?
Yeah.
And turned upfield to get that yards after catch, as you do in football. And it was a freak accident. He caught him on that T wave of that cardiac, the pulmonary rhythm.
Was it confirmed? That's what it was. Commotio cordis. Was it confirmed? Because I don't want to speculate.
Not confirmed.
I don't want to speculate. So
that's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to say. Until someone said that's not what it was, that's what it was. You caught him in that. What is it? A 2 out of every 1,000th millisecond like chance that happens.
Yeah.
And you got to hit him square in the chest. He made a routine football play. It's how the game's played. Mm-hmm. I've seen some hideous things on social media this week talking about how Tee Higgins put him in the hospital and, killed him basically. No, leave Tee Higgins alone. You know how this man feels already before you were saying that shit?
Yeah.
He felt terrible before that. Leave him alone. Tee Higgins made a routine football play. Yeah. And there's nothing anyone can say. I've seen death threats on social media towards Tee Higgins.
Absolutely ridiculous.
It's disgusting. No, it's not. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
Joe.
I mean, yeah, first thing, just like everyone else said, thoughts and prayers, T's and P's to Damar, and then also to T. Higgins. I think that after today's news, where we kind of found out that he's making progress to a recovery, that everyone can kind of take a little bit of a sigh of relief. And I mean, we're not out of the woods yet with his recovery process, but everyone does feel a lot better. Some great news coming out of the hospital today. Again, his first question being, did we win the game? It cracked me up. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Feel bad for him that they can't say that they won the game. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the fact that he's doing better, his family's been supportive of T. Higgins as well. I don't know if you guys saw that. Hamlin's mom reached out to T. Higgins today to let him know, like, hey, this is not your fault. Like, don't listen to all the people that Dennis are talking about sending death threats and calling it. Definitely is not his fault.
Yeah,
but
absolutely
it made me
disgusting.
It made me feel a lot better that Damar Hamlin's family reached out to T. Higgins and was like, listen, dude, like, anything you need, stuff like that. It's great to see. And then this whole brotherhood that you see in the NFL, it's great. But I think also we could move on to a little bit, maybe, if we want to talk about it, is how the NFL's handling the situation in general.
I think they handled it. Yeah.
Well, today the news broke that this game has been canceled. Mm-hmm. Actually, about 2 hours ago, it got broken.
You basically get Kansas City the number one and home field advantage, like, through the whole playoffs.
Yeah.
That seems like a very NFL thing to do, like, from an outside view. Mm-hmm. I understand it's more at play, but it definitely seems like NFL's like, oh no, Kansas City gets the bye week. Oh no, they get home field through the whole playoff.
I don't hate the decision. I don't know. I don't hate the decision, and I'll tell you why. Because this is a hard situation. They made the right call Monday night. Absolutely, the game should have been postponed, I think. But the problem is we're so late in the season. Every bye week's been used up, and you can't ask these guys. Like, football is a hard sport to play in general, and then like to have to
move two playoff teams too.
Yeah, I mean. And like two top playoff teams, like two. I think they're both number one in their division.
No,
like
if this game decides the number one seed, basically.
But I'm saying, like, they're both guaranteed playoff spots, and it had a potential to decide the number one seed. But at the end of the day, Damar's life is more important than figuring out, like, missing the number one seed, and also that you can't make up these games right now and this late in the season, because if you push a game back, you're already on a short week playing on a Monday night. And if you try to move the game to, like, even like move it to Wednesday, then you're only giving them like a 4-day break between that and their next game. And you're willing to risk, like, these teams and the health of their players more so trying to keep the game schedule alive. Like, I think it was the right call to cancel it. I mean, I don't think there's another way to go about it other than canceling the game because of what point we are in the season and because of the situation at hand and, like, all the factors that are involved. It doesn't matter. I don't think either team is upset that they're going to lose out on the potential for the number one seed in the AFC, because it was more important focusing on Damar's life in that situation. That's how I feel about that. So.
And I would agree with that. I would agree it's more important to focus on Damar's life. Like, this is like unprecedented, right?
Yeah, this is something that's never happened. Like, I mean, it happened to, like, a guy in 1971.
Administer CPR for 10 minutes, take him to the nearest trauma center. Like, this is unprecedented, which I understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Joe,
but do you have like, if you look at it from, like, the perspective of, like, all the, like, the conspiracy theorists, right?
I don't think that has anything to do with it. I wouldn't even get in the weeds with that. I just don't think we should get in the weeds with that. I don't think that's that holds any value.
Let me just say my little spiel about it.
Well, I just don't think it holds any value. I don't think.
I don't either.
So that's why I don't want to even engage with those guys, because I think we shouldn't make it about anything other than the fact that they're respecting what happened with Damar and they're moving on from it, and not, like, it's not an ulterior motive to put Casey in. I think entertaining that's ridiculous.
Ulterior motive. I'm just saying, like, it plays into that.
I don't know. I don't know. I think that's Joe. Yeah, let's hear what you
have. No, I'm kind of said all I needed to say. Like, the NFL, you guys touched on a lot of points with the NFL figuring out what they're going to do. So I think we can probably move on.
Let's jump into
Ron Rivera. Let's jump into the Washington.
Let's go to Skip real quick.
Okay, well, we'll make this real quick. Skip Bayless, I think, needs to lose his job on the air. And whether he clarified his tweet, whether people misunderstood his tweet, you don't have thousands of people respond to a tweet with misunderstanding if it's worded okay or if it's worded correctly. Like, obviously, you made a terrible tweet at a terrible time because thousands upon thousands of people reacted poorly. Shannon Sharp, your co-host, thought it was disgusting and didn't even show up to work the next day because he disagreed with your tweet so much. Regardless whether you clarified it, regardless of whether or not you meant it one way or another, you have a responsibility, Skip Bayless, with thousands of fans to like be in charge and know what you're posting. And you can't post something like that. You have to read into more of what you've done than like what he did. I mean, it was poor timing. The tweet was poorly worded. I don't care how he thought it came across. The producers of Fox called him and told him to change, like to clarify his tweet because people were so upset. So one, that tells me Skip still doesn't think he did anything wrong and he doesn't see what he did wrong. And two, that means obviously it was messed up. If the producers of the network you work for have to call you and tell you to adjust your tweet. Sorry, I went too long there, but that just it makes me upset. Skip needs to be off TV. Shannon Sharp deserves better. And that's how I feel about that situation.
You're good. It's a good show, minus Skip, right? So you got right. So
and I don't always agree with Shannon Sharp. So
and I don't either. I agree completely with you. So again, let me plug myself. Rambling_Big D on Twitter. You can follow me. We got the night of the game. I'm going off. I saw that tweet from Skip. I was livid. I sat on it for about 20-ish hours, reread it a couple times, and I said, you know what? He's getting a lot of hate that he doesn't really necessarily deserve, because the way it reads at first is that he's prioritizing the NFL over this player. But then if you reread it, like he's like, oh, this seems irrelevant now.
Yeah, but again, I read it back. The grammar is so weird in the way he's worded it.
The grammar's weird. And so let me get into like what the real problem is here, right? The real problem is that Skip has put himself on this platform and has made these controversial takes before that allow people to interpret it that way.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the Dak Prescott tweet about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago.
I want to let Joe also
I'll let Joe go too, but like let me finish this. Like, this is important. So regardless of how like you may or may not have interpreted this last tweet regarding Damar Hamlin, like he's made takes like this before. Like Dak Prescott, he lost his brother during COVID, couldn't talk to anyone about it, and he came out and said he was like having mental health issues. There's nothing wrong with that, right? You would think that makes a strong leader. Skip came out and said, oh, like this makes him a weak leader. Like he should not be the quarterback of your football team because he had this opinion. Like he had mental health issues and he was very public about it. That is not how you take that situation. The problem is how he has marketed himself as a sportscaster and as a sports opinion and allowed people to make this interpretation of his tweet. If he would have done his job the right way, people would not have interpreted that way. They would have read the whole thing and they would have gone on and been like, okay, he's saying now it's irrelevant. No, he's made takes like this before.
And hold on. So
people.
Let's
continuing on is like, so he had 2 previous tweets regarding this situation. Like one response immediately to what happened, and then one after he's been down for a while, and then he had his talking about the game thing. So people overlook. I'm not defending Skip. Let's just hold on, put a pin in that real quick. I'm not defending Skip, but he did.
Yeah, I was not either.
His first 2 tweets were about Damar Hamlin and his situation and severity of his situation, thoughts and prayers, this, that, and the other. And then he goes the viral tweet, which was the NFL postponing the rest of the game, but how this late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant, which it is irrelevant. But then that is the one that went viral. And that wasn't even the worst viral tweet from someone at ESPN or
Fox.
in the sports media world.
He's Fox.
He's sports media. I know. Sports. He used to be sports media world. People from ESPN were like, what do you mean they're going to stop this game or not play this game? They have to play this game. It's like, whoa. There was one viral that went around. But Skip on his show, I think, is like what Dennis said, brought up the Dak point. That was what I was going to bring up as well. Horrible. I don't understand how anyone still supports Skip Bayless as a pundit, as a sports pundit at this point.
Yeah, I think he's already lost a lot of respect, and he just continues to lose respect. And
his show is awful. Him calling out
has built this platform where people can interpret it and interpret what he says that way, that's the problem.
Yeah.
You need to build
him
yourself.
calling out Shannon is ridiculous on his own show.
Yeah, that was I don't know how Shannon stays on the show after Skip was like, "You're just jealous of Brady. That's why you're hating on like all that ridiculous stuff that he was saying."
That was crazy.
That was so over the line too. I mean, Skip is just I don't understand how he's still a TV like a sports media.
He said some ridiculous things.
And like he never learns from his mistakes either, which is like I don't understand how he still has a job. I don't. I think what he did was.
I think he does for much longer. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I think Shannon's done with him. If you watch Undisputed, the chemistry's gone.
And Shannon is like Shannon Sharp is the guy
truth.
to watch that show.
Yeah. Whether I agree with Shannon Sharp 100% on every one of his takes is irrelevant. The guy is great TV, and he's very well spoken.
He's great TV,
very articulate. Like the guy,
regardless of what his takes are, Shannon Sharp is like that. He's my favorite guy on any like sports talk show to watch.
I agree.
Yeah,
100%.
Regardless if I agree with the take, that's the take I want to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I love watching Shannon Sharp. Joe, do you have anything?
No, I think I've said my piece about Skip and his stupidity.
Excellent. So I guess we're gonna hit on this real quick too. We're gonna hit on the Ron Rivera situation. I don't know too much about the situation. I'm not a big Commanders fan. All I've seen is he had no idea that they were fighting for a playoff spot and made horrible coaching decisions with a starting quarterback. I don't think he is going to resign, though. I think he's a fighter, and I think he will try to fight his way through this and like battle because that's what he's always done. And I think he's a good head coach in the NFL. But I also think he will get fired maybe this offseason. That's my kind of take on it. So, Dennis, Joe,
I'll take. Okay, it's a little shameful that he didn't know they were like fighting for a playoff spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Little shameful that you bench Carson or you bench Heineke for Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
And then he plays the game he plays. And it's like, no one's surprised by the game he plays.
Yeah.
And that's what Carson Wentz does like these days. Like, wildly frustrated. Because that's like it's a top 3 team for me, right? That's the hometown team. Might not be my team, but it's the hometown team.
Right.
And so it's frustrating to see Ron Rivera not know what's going on. He benches the guy that the team rallies around and then plays the guy that like throws 97 picks.
Yeah.
Here's my whole season. I'm going to take a little bit more time than you two because this is my team and I'm really invested.
This is Joe's team.
I'm the reason we're talking about this tonight. Ron Rivera's decision to start Carson Wentz pissed off almost everyone in this organization, I think. I don't know why he did it. Heineke had a bad game. Carson Wentz comes in. He's healthy again, but we let him sit for so long. He was 1-4 as a starter this season. Heineke was what, 5-2-1 or something like that? 5-3-1 maybe?
No.
I don't remember. But Heineke's clearly the favorite in everyone's book. So now we have Sam Howell starting next week with Heineke as a backup, maybe taking partial snaps. Wentz is all the way benched.
Who is the truth? Sam Howell.
We'll see. I hope so.
I'm not sold.
With Ron being confused about this whole thing, I don't know. This is the first real slip up this past week that I've seen from Ron Rivera in his tenure at Washington. So he's on a 5-year contract signed in 2020. So we have him for a couple more years, realistically. I think he's going to want to see it through with new ownership that we're going to have in March, and we have to get it in March. I think we just have to. We need to get new ownership. We need to rebuild a little bit. We got to be smart in the draft. I don't think we need a quarterback, but that's my only opinion. That can go on that tangent another time. But Carson Wentz as himself needs to go. You have to get rid of him, get that cap space, get back. He's cancer on your team. And I don't mean that he's just, I don't know what it is about him. I just can't deal with him on our football team. It's horrible.
I would like to hit on the quarterback situation. Right now, Ron Rivera has absolutely destroyed the confidence in his quarterback room, too. Taylor Heineke now has been benched. Carson Wentz was benched, and we already know he had a fragile mindset.
I think Heineke still has the confidence. I really do.
But it's just hard when you get benched.
Heineke is going to have the confidence regardless of what you do.
Because he has his team behind his back. He's the one quarterback on that team.
It still hurts, though, to get benched.
It
does.
Yeah.
Howell might.
But you think Howell's maybe a little scary. He's like, as soon as I start playing bad, I'm going to be benched. Like, I just don't like the QB carousel that's going on in Washington right now. I don't think it's good for the quarterbacks. I think if you're going to ride with a guy, ride with a guy.
I just don't understand how you can throw 3 interceptions and lose the game.
Because Denver's riding with Russ, and Russ has not been worth riding with all season.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
he's
Like,
getting better.
I can
Broncos
agree
country.
with you.
Let's ride.
I think Howell is by far, like, I think people sleep on Howell as, like, you have to look at him in college. What was he like as a prospect, right?
I wasn't impressed with him in college.
I was.
We'll agree to
I
disagree.
was impressed with him in the preseason. I was impressed with him in college. I think you ride with Howell and see where it goes. And, okay, yeah, you've got one more game to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you worry about drafting a quarterback next year because I think Howell's the truth.
I don't think
they worry about drafting a quarterback because you have Heineke and
right
Howell.
now. Take a mark of the timestamp on this video so you can rub this in my face next season if I'm wrong. But also, I want the timestamps so that when I said, "Hey, Howell's the truth," like y'all can put that on there.
We'll have to see.
There's going to be a lot of timestamps about me being wrong next season, I'm afraid. But next thing I want to move on to real quick. The Eagles are not the same without Jalen Hurts. And I'm not even going to talk about this too long because I want to move through this topic. But Jalen Hurts completely changes the identity of the Philadelphia Eagles when he's healthy and on the team. They control the ball, gives their defense a break. They are dominant. They control like the entire flow of the game when Jalen Hurts is healthy. It's a completely different offense than with Gardner Minshew. And without him, you can tell this Eagles team is just not the same. And I worry for them in the playoffs if he's not going to be healthy. That's all I got to say. I just don't see it. So
I'll jump at it real quick. I'll go back to what I said when the first time I ever saw him play was against LSU. I wasn't a huge college football guy back then. Saw him play against LSU his freshman year. And I was like, why is this running back throwing the football? Like making a huge deal about it, right?
I remember those calls.
Yeah. And you see like all this stuff online about how like if you look at offensive efficiency and all these weird stats like for passer efficiency and stuff like that. Okay, Gardner Minshew might be better, like yards per game, passing yards per game, all that stuff. He changes the dynamic because of like what his like tangible tool set is. Mm-hmm. And like you can't replace that. Like, okay, maybe Jalen Hurts averages 320 yards. I don't know what the exact number is, 320 yards a game, like total offense from him, passing and running. And Gardner Minshew averages like 330. Gardner Minshew is throwing for 329. Like, you don't have to account for him in the running game.
Yeah.
The fact that, like, the Eagles can build that offense around him and teams have to account for him in the running game as well as the passing game, even if he's only averaging 150 yards a game passing, if that was the case, like, you still have to account for him in the running game because he is, at heart, in my LSU heart, he's a running back.
Yeah. Joe?
Who happens to be able to pass the ball better than, what, 85% of quarterbacks in the NFL?
Yeah.
Like,
right, so Joe, I want to hear
my So, Hurts is out with the shoulder sprain, right? Realistically, like, Gardner Minshew is not playing bad. I mean, I didn't watch the Saints game because it's the Saints and no one's watched the Saints all season. I don't even know if they're on TV anymore. But the Cowboys game, they scored 34 points against a damn good Cowboys defense. You can't really scoff your fucking nose about that. Yeah. But like, okay, the Saints game, 10 points on offense. It's horrible. Like Dennis said, that Jalen Hurts out of the backfield is a threat. Defenses have to account for it. It causes problems for defenses. So it changes your whole offense, right? Like your whole dynamic's different when you don't have that kind of quarterback back there. So naturally, they're not going to have the ball as long. They're not going to score as many points. You're going to lose games. Your defense is going to get tired. It's kind of is what it is. I think Hurts is starting this weekend, though, against the Giants, because this is a must win for them to clinch number 1 in the NFC, I believe, correct?
I think so.
Correct.
I think so.
Yes. So I think we'll see. They're going to have to keep him clean of hits because it's going to be tough. We saw what the Giants just did to Foles, right?
Yeah, the Colts.
And I don't think it's hits that you have to keep clean of, right? Like he's a tough guy.
Yeah, but that shoulder.
You have to play your brand of football while not being stupid while doing it.
Yeah. So I really want Jalen Hurts healthy because the Eagles are a different team with Jalen Hurts. They're a better team with Jalen Hurts, and they're a serious threat in the NFC. And I think for a championship with Jalen Hurts because of their ability to control the football. But the 49ers look like the beast to beat in the NFC right now. But that's another take for a different time. The final take we're going to do today for 30-minute Thursdays, we're going to talk about the Vikings-Packer game and what happened out there. So starting off, I said last week, I think it was not our last podcast, but it was our podcast last Thursday, that I don't know if the Vikings are a playoff team or not. I was concerned about their ability to perform when the moment mattered the most. And what happened? Freaking Kirk Cousins on any other time slot than 1 p.m. showed up. And the Vikings defense is not good. They're not a good defense. Kirk Cousins can't play in primetime games and big moments. I just don't know. I don't see it from these guys, and they make me nervous. Dennis, Joe?
I'll say the Vikings look like crap against the Green Bay. Like, I don't even like. I'm frustrated, right?
Mm-hmm. Although this gives you a chance for playoff Rodgers, Dennis.
It does.
It does. So
that's all falling together.
It's like a two-edged sword because playoff Rodgers and me, like, if you look back at my personal Twitter from a few years ago, I've been nailing Rodgers for years about his playoff performance. So, like, okay, if Green Bay makes it and then Green Bay loses in the first round, I'll take it. I'll take it with a smile on my face.
We all will.
Great podcast. We're going to have a 30-minute segment on this podcast about how Green Bay doesn't and Aaron Rodgers doesn't perform in the playoffs.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm not really worried. If we're talking about the Vikings, I'm not worried. I think they're a playoff team. I think they'll win playoff games. So I'm not worried.
Right.
So, Kirk Cousins, outside of the 1 p.m. time slot playing football games, should be on the bench. Like, put your backup in for any 4:25 games, 8 o'clock games, Monday night football, Thursday night football, Saturday primetime. Well, actually, Saturday primetime worked out pretty well for him. But 1 o'clock games, Kirk Cousins all the way. Start him no matter what. I don't care if he's got
quarterback
in football. Put him as quarterback. Exactly. But 4 turnovers from that Vikings team, 3 of which I believe were from Kirk Cousins, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble, 3 touchdowns off of interception or off of turnovers for the Vikings. What the hell happened? They just didn't play football. Like, you could have put a freaking Pee Wee league out there and they would have done the same thing. It was awful. It was horrible to watch.
Very similar.
Yeah,
I don't score on every opportunity, though. To be fair to the Packers, they did play a very good game. They scored on a kickoff return. Defense was getting touchdowns. Like, they really nailed every box on that game.
How about Jair Alexander sunning Justin Jefferson? I mean,
let's not talk about it because, like, if it comes to the playoffs, I'm not worried about it.
True, but no, Joe. To like kind of like piggyback off what you're saying, like the Vikings that might be the worst game they've played all year. They basically played how they played the
Cowboys game.
Yeah, I don't know. They played like they did in the first half against the Colts for the entire game. I mean, it's brutal to watch. It's brutal to watch. I mean, those guys they don't look. I don't know, man. Like, I want to see Kirk Cousins perform because I like the guy. He's a very likable guy. You know, he's like, you like that? Everybody loves that. Like, he's like the goofy dad, Kirky, like 36.
You mean Kirko 33 chains?
But I don't see it. Like you're saying, Joe, like any time other than a 1 p.m. slot, he disappoints. I swear. It's like he's in his own head. He's like, oh,
wait, this wasn't even a primetime game.
What did I say?
I know, it was just not 1 o'clock.
Like 3 podcasts ago, I said at the 1 p.m. slot, Kirk Cousins is a top 10 QB all time.
I think we've said this every single podcast.
At the 1 p.m. slot.
But I don't know. Anything after 1 p.m. and he just falls apart. He can't get it done. And I don't know. It just worries me. Their defense is bad. Kirk Cousins may not be able to get it done in big moments. I just don't trust them in the playoffs. I think they're a one and done this year. That's my take moving forward. The Vikings are a one and done in the playoffs.
I agree.
I trust them up to the NFC Championship. I don't trust them to make it to the Super Bowl.
What, you think they're going to make it to the NFC Championship?
What did I say 2 weeks ago or 2 podcasts ago? NFC Championship, right? I stand by it.
I think that's ridiculous. Through the 49ers, the Eagles,
you want to put money
the Cowboys.
I
think the Giants beat the Vikings in the playoffs.
You want to put money on it?
I will put money on. I will put the money on the Vikings.
It's like
I'll put $10. $10 that the Vikings don't make the NFC Championship.
I get Max Duggan on my ass cheek, right?
Yeah. Okay. $10 that the Vikings don't make the NFC Championship.
$10? Who are you?
Broke.
All right, hold on. So Dennis has him going to the NFC Championship. Corbin, you have him losing in the wild card.
Yeah.
I'll have him losing in divisional. How about that?
But I'll put $20 they don't make the NFC Championship. I'll put $20.
Crime.
It's the perfect crime.
$20 they don't make it to the NFC Championship.
All right.
We got a bet.
Okay, we'll figure out the pot
make a
later.
bet.
Yeah.
Make a bet.
We'll
All right,
figure out the pot later.
That's all we got for today's podcast. You're definitely going to want to check into Sunday's podcast.
Sunday's going to be everything college football. We're not talking about quarterbacks at all, Corbin. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's no college football until Monday night. So
exactly.
I can guarantee you the fireworks are going to fly because Daniel Jones is the best quarterback in the NFC East.
And now
I said it. I'm saying the best quarterback in the NFC after the stats I've done. So me and Joe are going to fight, and Dennis is going to moderate us.
No,
thank you guys for checking in.
I'm not moderating.
Thank you guys for checking in with us, stopping in. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment in the description. Let us know what you want to see besides Sunday because it's going to get hot. Make sure you're sharing the video with your friends, and have a great night. Thank you guys for stopping in with us.